So the market's a little turnaround Tuesday here as S&P down just over 0.5%. Do we have some sort of a top or a correction starting in the market? Let's get into it here. Today it is Tuesday, obviously, September 23rd, 2025. If you guys like the video, maybe give it a like. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts, analysis, and live day trading. Again, we got that sale going on here, and it's finally waking up here, the market, and made some nice gains here today, intraday. We'll talk about some of that later. But yeah, market's here down about 0.5%. And I've been talking about this last couple of days. And the market here, bell's about to ring. So make sure the TV's quieter for you. But nonetheless, well, I got the sound off. So anyway, yeah, this market's here with a little bit of a decline. And we had, we're down about 0.5% there. Q's down 0.2%. And we talked about volatility, and we talked about the kind of cycle date here, and we had a decline today, so that we got a reaction where we were expecting it, and it just comes down to that right now, and you just got to take it one step at a time. Again, looking at ES here, I was just talking about this earlier, but you can see that the RSI does tend to get, the last couple of times we've gotten consolidation here. At about a 74 or higher, and you're starting to see that here now as well. We had Powell speaking earlier, and he was, I don't even care. I hardly really paid attention until what he said. The market was already dipping a little bit before that, and again, I think it's just kind of time and price here is more important than the why. We've had plenty of why to sell off lately. We just haven't done it. So, time and price is more important to me. But what I like, for sellers here is that this started off extremely pedestrian. Like, it was super complacent. Like, there was nothing to fear here until it was too late, so to say. Which, again, signals the complacency that we've seen here. Now, have bears done anything? No. I mean, I figured that this low would get saved by the end of the day, and it did, right? And I tweeted about this level right here is at 66.50. In fact, in the trading room, the first thing I said this morning was, I gave out the levels, or dealer levels here, and we said 598 QQQ. That's your left tail for today, and oh, look where it went to today. So right to 598. I wasn't necessarily expecting it, but that was the left tail. It went there, and we had a beautiful ES trade that got 10 points or so off the lows, and it's just nice when we get volatility for once. And by the way, this is not like volatility. This is just normal. Like, this is normal volatility. If you started trading in the last month, you'd think this was like hell right here. But no, this is normal volatility, and it's nice to see it, because I just liked, I like to make money, and I need that to day trade. So it's pretty nice here. Back to what I was saying a minute ago. I was trying to set this chart up, but yeah, you can see as well hitting that RSI. This likes to be, 2 standard devs is about where it likes to consolidate from to. So again, you can see S&P there, at that current, at that deviation, so a little stretched here. And, there's plenty of reasons for the market to sell, but it all comes down to, just whether it does or not, and whether it confirms. Right now, we don't have a lot of volume behind it, so I'm not going to make too much out of it here. Sellers still have a lot of work to do. But right now, your first step is obviously 66.50. So if you can break that on SPX, the cash, then we can start working down other levels here. And again, you still have, we're still 100 points off the 20-day, right? And by the way, I hear a lot of talk about how, like, if we get a correction, it's only going to be 3%, or it's only going to be 5%. Do you know where 5% is from here? It's at 60. It's like 6,300. It's so it's well below the 50-day. And by the way, this here is 3.3. This here is like 3.5. I think this here is about just under 3%. So if you think 3% is like all we're going to get, then basically you're just saying we're not getting a correction, because these are 3% here. So yeah, 5% is reasonable, and it's enough to make money off of. Just be aware that 5% turns into 10 because too many people buy the dip. And again, I still feel like this is a lot. This reminds me so much of 2020. just the price action of the whole year. And, you know, this is about 7 or 8% here. So that would be a normal move, especially with that vertical takeoff there at the end. But anyway, again, bottom line is sellers haven't done anything. This is just mean reversion, as I was talking about with the RSI and the standard deviations, but it can turn into more, right? So we'll see what happens. You know, we hit some major numbers. We hit targets here. We talked about 600 QQQ. You know, the 666 buy that everybody's obsessed with. You know, cycles and things of that nature. So we'll see if that does you know, come to fruition. I don't think, unless something happens the overnight to really gap us down, I don't think we're going to sell tomorrow. I think tomorrow would be rebound or chop, personally. That said, IWM today, weak. So green to red, new all-time high, and then we closed down. Not broken, but definitely a little bit of a tail there. Diamond, same thing. So getting a little top heavy here on the Dow, and you can see the YM here inside of that wedge too. And that did pull back with a little uptick in volume. Semis, let's take a look at Micron. All right, so that's at 174. So new all-time high there after hours. And let me just see. Yeah, so NQ getting an uptick. So I've been hearing all day long, like, oh, Micron. Micron's like a $180 billion company. Like, they could be up 300% right now, and the NQ would be like up here. Like, I mean, it's not going to move the tape all that much. Maybe not 300%. You get what I mean. So, I mean, yeah, it's upticking right now, and you're probably seeing some sympathy. All right. I know TSM was up today. Now we got AMAT catching a little bid, right? AMD upticking, so it's not, and Micron's not going to move the needle that much. But nonetheless, that is popping here after hours. But yeah, SMH here, yep, getting a small uptick here in the after hours there. That was red to green, or sorry, green to red as well. Same thing with IGV. Oracle, I think that was, come on. I thought that was up, or wasn't it up in the pre-market? Maybe not, but it was down today. And Microsoft was weak as well. So gotta be careful here. Don't want to lose those moving averages on Microsoft. Otherwise, we're looking at a lower high and probably a lower low at some point. Transports were up, but came off the highs by the end. Bread today, by the way, speaking of the transports, it was like even. So. But yeah, transports here hanging in there. Interest rates did back off a little bit. And I did close my TMV runner, so that was nice. But really on the long end here, yeah, 30 years down a little bit. That's not a surprise it hit that level right there. I don't know what happened to my 10-year. What do they do with my 10-year yield? I'll have to put it back later. But yeah, rates took a little bit of a pause here. XHB, a little bounce off the 50 MA. We talked about that yesterday. You see IYR here, bouncing off the 100. The weekly pattern on this is still good. It's got a gigantic, I mean, look at this base here. So it's yeah, I mean, that's coiled. That is super coiled. All right, XLF rebounded a little bit, but it came, oh, that's right, it came back. Oh, I haven't, okay, so I haven't checked banks in the afternoon. I was looking at it in the morning. They were up decently. Wow, they faded a lot, didn't they? Wow, look at that. Yeah. So, yeah, XLF, wow, that faded a lot. Okay. Still holding that red bar, but you have higher lows here. So path of least resistance is still higher, but it's been struggling with that red bar high. And we had KRE down again. Needs to stay above 64. We have broker dealers here up 0.5%. Oil came off last week, top ticked this almost exact. This was a beautiful day trade too. That was another winner. I mean, right there. So you got the trend line. You got a 786. You know, going into this supply zone. Hourly RSI was scorching hot at the time. It was actually higher than that before it came in. So that was a good little day trade there. We got a short off, and it actually, I have this drawn a little bit differently on one of my other charts, but it basically went right through. Yeah, so if we just like zero in on it, Here, you can see it kind of, come on. You can see it going through that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah, so it hit that area. We'll probably back off of 64. If it bases, though, it can get through that. I mean, it's hammered on this trend line a lot, so it can try and get through that now. We'll see. Up 2.5%, or sorry, 2.25. XLE came off the highs, but not by much. Still up 1 3/4. XOP higher high, and OIH. I was gonna say breakout. Man, that came way off the highs, didn't it? So no breakout there. What a shame. OIH just can't get anything going. Even with Halliburton laying everybody off, they can't get anything going. But that closed above the 200. We'll give Halliburton the benefit of the doubt there. But yeah, OIH came back in. But this still looks good, though. This chart's improved a lot. Anyway, dollar index. I guess I should pay attention to the second half of the day on some of these things. I didn't think they sold off that much. Dollar index here, flat to lower. Again, rejecting here, needs a higher low. If it gets one, it can go through that. We got GDP and PCE later in the week. And the most bullish thing that could happen is a soft numbers and a dollar rally. So that'd be the most bullish thing for the DXY. Gold came in a little bit here in the afternoon. You can see that dump with volume. So there's definitely some distribution going on up here. Just be aware of it. It's still, it's not broken, but you've seen some volume uptick here at the highs. And GDX did go green to red. Not by a ton, but it went green to red. Silver flat, that's still fine. SIL, again, these miners went green to red, so. Platinum had a good day, though. Look at that breakout. We talked about that wedge. I thought maybe it would come back down one more time, but no, it didn't have to. And now into that little double top there. And palladium here continuing to follow through again. We talked about 1200, that being a squeeze level, and that was the case. Copper flat, and again, no one cares. Bitcoin today, this one I just stopped out of. This is the one loser. And I didn't want to. I hate stopping out at these, like in this situation, but it's a small position anyway, so it's not a big deal. But I don't like stopping out when it's at a level like this. But I just didn't want to. I have a feeling that they're going to try some nonsense during the Asian session, and I don't want to have to fight it. So this area here, I know there's a lot. This is my day trading one here, but you can see the high of May 22nd, the low of August 2nd or 3rd. So right around 112. That's where that point of control has been, and it's trying to hold on to that right now. But I think if it loses that, you could see a little bit of a flush here. And I'd much rather buy there. Now it does have a really attractive, it's got a nice, like, attractive seller exhaustion signal here on the hourly and 4 hour, but I don't feel like staying up all night watching this thing. I'll put it that way. So we'll see what happens with it tomorrow. I did notice that Ethereum, look at this. So alts holding up a little bit better, kind of like intraday, to a degree anyway, at least Ethereum is. All right, so you got like the higher low here from the last hour or so versus Bitcoin. You got lower lows. Maybe that's a little bit of a bullish signal. We'll see. But we talked about crypto too, selling off just hard for almost no reason. We talked about volatility upticking and like not to ignore that. And I mean, I don't know, just screenshotted gains everywhere. A lot of euphoria, and nobody thinks the market can go down for any reason ever. So just be careful here. So cycle is possibly triggering here, but again, we need to see more volume, need to see follow through. That doesn't mean it has to be tomorrow, but the bear's got to do some damage here. First level 66.50. So anyways, guys, I'll wrap it up here. Again, you guys take care. Don't forget to come find me on carnivoretrades.com. I'll see you guys all tomorrow.